Happy Thanksgiving week, Lions fans. This Monday may not quite feel happy, but let's all remember it's a holiday week, and the whole point of this week is to feel thankful. So I'm thankful you're here with us on this Tori's Take Monday presented by Priority Health. Tough day for the Lions at FedEx Field yesterday as they gave the Redskins their second win of the season. Neither team played particularly well, let's be clear about that. But what it came down to was that the Redskins made the plays in the fourth quarter when it mattered. 2 interceptions in crucial moments, a third down catch allowed to set up a game-winning field goal, and just like that, Washington had won. All of that after the Lions made some good halftime adjustments to come out looking much different after the half. They had a lackluster first half, but the Lions outgained the Redskins with 157 yards of offense to Washington's -3 in the third quarter. At one point, Jeff Driscoll had more rushing yards than Redskins quarterback Dwayne Haskins had passing yards. New running back Bo Scarborough had a 98-yard rushing day. Remember when the Lions couldn't find a way to get a runner close to 100 yards? But none of that matters when you cannot make big plays when it counts at the end of games. That has been the Lions' issue all season. It's not that they can't ever get a lead in a game. In fact, according to CBS Sports HQ, the Lions are just the third team all-time to lead in each of its first 11 games and win 3 or fewer. They cannot hang on to their leads. In some games, it's been the defense giving up big plays. In some games, it's been the offense turning the ball over. In others, special teams breakdowns, like we saw yesterday when the Lions allowed a kick return touchdown on a muffed catch. There is no simple answer as to why the Lions are playing how they are. The coaches and players keep saying that consistency is the problem, and you know what? They're right. Nothing has been consistent this season, not even the Lions' issues. Regardless of what happened in Washington, the Lions have to turn the page to Thanksgiving on the short week. Hopefully for them, they can find a way to beat the also struggling Bears on their home turf in their signature game. Thankfully for us, it is a holiday week and the Lions are tradition, so win or lose, we still get to enjoy being part of it. And things aren't all bad. There's good food to be eaten this week, and at least the Packers got clobbered by the surging 49ers last night on Sunday Night Football. That's a win, right? Stick with us. We have more coming up for you after the break, including the extra point. We'll be right back.
Josie is smarter than every person in every park in Michigan.
Checkmate.
Smarter than every person in the world. That's smart. Like choosing Priority Health Insurance.
Checkmate.
It's how smart people access a network that includes 97% of primary care doctors in Michigan.
End zone. Caught! Oh, baby, what a catch! Oh, the football. The Lions have got it! Gonna get hit. Gonna get sacked. Oh, this place is on fire now.
Last year, Mark finished last in his fantasy baseball league. So this year, he brought his daughter to the draft.
Him?
Smart. Like choosing Priority Health Insurance. It's how smart people access a network that includes 97% of primary care doctors in Michigan.
Welcome back to Tori's Take presented by Priority Health. I'm Tori Petrie. Why not have a laugh on this Monday? Brought to you by the Extra Point segment where we take you around the league. Today's Extra Point is brought to you by the Fox halftime show of Patriots Cowboys, where Rob Gronkowski had an interesting outfit choice as he joined the set. He wore this turtleneck and blazer that had a bit of a villain vibe to it. Twitter had some things to say about it. They said Gronk looks like a guy heavily involved in a figure skating steroid scandal. Very creative. I like that one. Then we have this tweet that says, why is Gronk dressed like a Russian hitman? I mean, come on, he looks just like the guy that chased the guy around in Stranger Things in the mirror house this season. I mean, that is exactly what he was wearing, I'm pretty sure. Then we have this question, or this post from Ryan McGee. He says, no, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Bond villain outfit. But this one right here is my favorite one. It is by Mina Kimes. She uses the meme of the week to say, gonna tell my kids this was Steve Jobs. Well done, Mina. One of my favorite follows on Twitter. Let's get to your questions from Twitter. We asked you last night what questions you had about the Lions and the Redskins game and where the Lions are at right now. And this is what you had to say. This first question is from Levi Warren. He wants to know, is the performance of Scarborough encouraging? Absolutely, Levi. Scarborough had 98 yards yesterday, including a big 30-yard run that set up the Lions' one touchdown from the day. That is what you are looking for in a running back. You are looking for a guy who can make big plays and also get consistent yards on the ground, and that is what they have been getting from Scarborough. He joined elite company yesterday when he became one of the few rookies to have 55 yards or more in his first 2 games in the league. Scarborough is definitely showing out for the Lions right now, and he has been an important part of this run game after Kerryon Johnson went down earlier this season. And Scarborough just joined the active roster of this team a couple of weeks ago, and he has already been a huge contributor for this team. I think the Lions are going to rely on him as this season goes forward. He is going to be an important part of these final games to finish out the season. This next question is from iChogs. He says, at a micro level, tell us what to watch for. Who's emerging? Who's getting more snaps? Who is the future next year? And how they can shape the last few games of the year. I love this question. So detailed. Let's dive into each part of this. First of all, what to watch for. If you're looking for something to watch for in these last few games of the season, I would watch the young guys, the Lions rookies, the guys who are getting opportunities. Scarborough, although not a rookie here, he is able to step in and have a big role. He is a young guy that Lions fans should be watching out for. Look at what some of these other young guys are doing as well. How are they playing? How might they play into the future of this team? Obviously, a winning season for the Lions. It is going to be tough to come by here as they finish out this season. So we are looking at a lot of other details as the season goes on. Who is emerging? I think Jeff Driscoll is emerging as a legitimate backup for Matthew Stafford. Of course, he had some tough moments in the game at Washington yesterday with those 2 interceptions late in the 4th quarter. But outside of that, Driscoll has done a solid job backing up Stafford. The Lions have been able to use his mobility and play to his skill set. So I think that Jeff Driscoll could be a solid option for the Lions at backup quarterback as they have cycled through guys at that position in these past few years. Bo Scarborough, one we already talked about. Another guy who is emerging who we should watch for as well. Who is getting more snaps? Okay, let's take a look at who's getting more snaps here. Really, all of the rookies are getting more snaps. Yesterday, in Austin Bryant's return to the field after being removed from IR, he had 27% of the defensive snaps in his first game back. Amani Oruwariye, who had an interception, his first career interception yesterday, he played 75% of defensive snaps. Of course, that was helped by Rashawn Melvin going down with injury. But we saw a lot more of Amani Oruwariye because of that. And it's valuable playing time for the rookie. And then Will Harris, of course, stepping in at safety. He played 100% of the defensive snaps. He has become a key piece in this Lions defense and someone the Lions are trying to develop. The last couple questions here says, who is the future next year and how can they shape the last few games of the year? Well, those rookies are going to be the future. I would say point to Will Harris as one of the ones to definitely watch for. He is certainly someone that the Lions like, as they were comfortable with trading Quandre Diggs away because they have some young talent at that position. So Will Harris could really be the future at the safety position. Then you look at how they can shape the rest of this year. Well, there's never been a better opportunity to see some really good work from guys at the bottom end of this roster because so many guys have been injured. A lot of the starters did not play in this game in Washington. So that creates opportunities for guys to get reps that they might not usually get. And that is what we saw yesterday in Washington. It is what we will see as this season goes forward if those guys stay injured. So that is what you can look for in these last few games of the season, including on Thursday in the Thanksgiving Day game against the Bears. All right, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, one last question here from Jeremy. He says, ham or turkey? I feel like it would be sacrilegious to pick anything besides turkey here. If we're talking like lunch meat, I'm going to go turkey all the time. But if we're going with traditional like holiday meats, I gotta say that I'm a bigger fan of ham than I am sliced turkey. I don't know if that's wrong to say. I'm still gonna eat the turkey on Thanksgiving for the sake of tradition, but I might have a little bit of ham as well. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving dinners as well as your Thanksgiving game with the Lions against the Bears. Thank you so much for joining us on Tori's Take, presented by Priority Health every week. We appreciate it, and I am thankful for you. From Xfinity Studio, I'm Tori Petrie.